And to my left, WNCT Channel 9 Sports Director. He is in multiple Halls of Fame.
Multiple?
Right?
I don't know. I'm in one I can think of, yeah.
He's in one.
The goal is to make multiple, but we got a long way to go.
He will be in multiple. Right now, he's in one Hall of Fame. He is Brian Bailey. Hello, Bailey.
Hey, how are you doing, sir?
Certainly, you'll be in the... I was thinking about this over the weekend.
You'll be in the Pirate Radio Hall of Fame.
Certainly.
There you go.
We just need a Channel 9 polo or something to
And
trade.
Channel 9,
I'll get you that.
You're easily in the Channel 9 Hall of Fame with Slim Short and Jim Woods.
Okay, good.
I would think.
That's high company there.
Yeah. So,
Great guys.
But BB, good to see you.
Good to be here. Great sports weekend.
It was, and
you don't expect that in June, really. You kind of go into June like you're ready to go into hibernation until August comes around. But it was a great sports weekend.
Part of it had to be because of the location of the U.S. Open. If that
Correct.
U.S. Open's in California,
right,
it would take
it's
away.
It's
from
still fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's a major. I love to watch any of the majors, but whenever it's in your home state and you get a chance to go, that was really. I had a chance to go to the one in '99, had a chance to go to the one in '05 and '14, and now in '24. So it's been I'm 4 for 4 with the U.S. Opens, and it's just Pinehurst does a great job in my opinion, and it's a neat course. I've had a chance to play the course, so you kind of look at that aspect of it, and man, it was high drama yesterday.
How many balls did you hit when you played where you thought it was good and then it just kept rolling somewhere?
Oh, it was a bunch. I mean,
that has got to be the most frustrating thing ever.
I can remember being at the bottom of the hill and like 4 of us hitting from the same spot and all 4 of us doing the same thing. And we're like, you got to hit it hard to get it up there. And you hit it hard and you think, okay, it's good. And then it starts rolling back down the hill. And it's really fascinating what Donald Ross did with that course and what they've done over the years with that course. And, to think about, you think about what Roy McIlroy went through, in his head for 4 rounds, basically, the concentration, getting balls in the fairway, getting balls out of trouble, making putts, and it comes down to, a couple of short ones. And the one on 18, I think we've all seen it. You don't want to give up the hole. You don't want to give away the hole. So you kind of, you ease into it a little bit and, it lips out to the right.
Yeah, I hate to use the C word as a non-athlete, but I mean, is there a better word than choke for what happened there?
I think there's a much better. I don't think that was. I just think it was one of those things that, with all that pressure, and I hate the choke word.
Yeah,
and it happens. I mean, there are athletes that actually, and we've seen it before, but. I think in that situation, and a guy that didn't see word was Bryson DeChambeau out of that bunker. So you talk about a clutch shot now.
He missed his short putt early enough to where he could recover from it.
Right.
Because he and Rory, for a minute there, looked like it was going to be, all right, who's going to triple bogey and who's going to double bogey?
Right. That's what it looked like.
But, man, DeChambeau, I would love to take us 4 and even like 4 pro golfers and put them in that spot where DeChambeau was on 18 and say, all right, get this one close and see how many people could do it. That was just a tremendous shot.
54 yards out and with everything on the line, and he blasted it out of there, got it within 4 feet. And you talk about a pressure putt now from 4 feet. That's especially when especially when you know what's happened before.
He's missed one and Rory's missed 2.
Right.
So they were. I mean, usually you see one on TV on a Saturday or Sunday, Bailey, all right, that's a gimme.
Right.
But, man, in that situation, it was like, all right, I'm going to stay tuned and just make sure he knocks this one in.
I saw a number yesterday while watching that, and it said that the probability of that player hitting it within 4 feet was 1.7%.
Man.
Wow.
So you talk about clutch. Bryson DeChambeau with a clutch shot there to set him up.
Let's check in with the chat gang real quick. We'll get back to it. Steve says, HFMFs. I guess every day is a Friday to Steve. Happy Monday to you, Steve. He says, go Gator. I don't know if Wes knows where that is. Jerry says hello. By the way, the Gators are beating the Wolfpack right now. 4-1 elimination game in Omaha on the Buccaneer Music Hall scoreboard presented by DeBuck. Big 3-run home run by Florida's pitcher, the lefty who was on the mound. Who hit
was on the mound. They took him out, yeah.
And that ball's high.
That
ball's
high
far.
And deep.
That ball is gone. And you know who that was?
You know who it was if you're thinking about it.
That was Alec Makarevich.
Wow. Yeah. I swear. Was that his girlfriend that just showed?
It looked like her. I don't know if that was her for show.
Yeah, man, I tell you, AMAC has done a great job.
Goodness gracious.
2-run shot, 2-run blast.
Tristan Newton, AMAC. Who's our football transfer that's going to win a championship? Do we have one of those guys? But, man,
Yeah.
Good stuff. Jamie says, hey, now, Bristol Carter is getting paid to go to an 8-22 team. Shaking my head. We'll get to that in a
How
moment.
about that? I was a little
Jamie.
surprised.
Chad?
Surprised. I didn't even realize Auburn was 8-22 until I was reading up today.
I guess somebody's got to stink in the SEC.
I guess somebody's got to lose some games because everybody else is winning them. So
Yeah.
everybody picked on Auburn.
Everybody else is in Omaha. Tyler is in the house. Says a West Monday. That's always a good thing. What a way to start the week, he says. Jamie brings up a good point. We'll get back to the golf and we'll move on to some other topics. But he said Brooks Koepka should be learning from DeChambeau how to change your image and succeed.
Yeah.
Brooks is Bryson has all of a sudden become like a fan favorite.
He has. And I mean, when you think about the pressure that you're under in a U.S. Open and everything that's going on, and then you stop and you see someone with special needs, and not only do you shake their hand, but you stop and sign an autograph for them. I mean, that's really, especially someone like myself who's worked with a lot of special needs, adults and children, and you just think about that. Hey, that meant the world, to his parents and just the scope of what was going on, and for that to happen right then.
And they didn't even ask for it. They didn't ask for an autograph. He just went right up to him and signed his hat.
Yeah.
He signed. I think he stuck around like all night long last night, signing everybody's autograph. I mean, he's really getting on the good side of golf fans for sure.
And I noticed that when I was there on Wednesday doing our previews of the tournament, those kids will take those flags and they'll run from person to person. And those kids now, they were educated. They knew a lot more of those golfers than this old guy did, because they would yell somebody's name and they would try to get this autograph and that autograph. And, it was – and you feel for the golfers, because obviously they've got a job to do and they want to, come over and spend time with everybody. But, once you start signing, you can be there for a while.
And there's some different stories with Bryson DeChambeau, too. Like a few years ago, he lost his father. He passed away. Of course, he wins the U.S. Open for the second time on Father's Day yesterday. And then also, like a story they brought up yesterday, 25 years ago, Payne Stewart was winning at Pinehurst. Bryson DeChambeau, a SMU Mustang. Payne Stewart, a SMU Mustang. So, and after he won yesterday, he turned his hat around, and there was like a Payne Stewart button. So just
I used to wear the style of hat that Payne Stewart.
And so the tribute to Payne Stewart yesterday was very touching too.
It was a phenomenal finish, but Bryson, and we'll talk to Mully tomorrow. Mully has been big on the Bryson will blow it train, because he always has. Yeah. He's always been frantic at the end of tournaments where he's had a chance to win.
He looked in control this time.
He did.
He really did.
Very, very in control.
And the thing is, too, is that like I was sitting there watching it with my dad. I was like, look, he's like pumping up the crowd with his putter. He's telling, he's really interacting with the crowd. I'm like, dude, as a golfer, you really don't see that. But it's like, hey, stay locked in the moment. But he didn't let that affect him.
You ask Eric Backich, if you pump up the crowd, you can get ejected.
Is that what happened to him?
That's what they said when the whole thing went down with Clemson. That the umpire told him, they said, because you incited the crowd, you're gone. And so they asked him a couple of days later, would you do it again? He said, yeah, I'll do it again. And Cliff would have been ejected 1,000 times. His arm, his bicep on that one side has got to be twice the size, because he was doing it the whole regional.
BB, Brian Bailey here, Chan Man, Wes on a Monday, and chat gang as well. Any final thoughts on golf before we move on? Bryson DeChambeau wins it. I got to say, I think the live deal has made these majors way more interesting to me.
Probably so.
We haven't even talked about this. Rory McIlroy leaving the golf course as soon as Bryson DeChambeau makes that putt. They showed him in the
was that him like speeding away or whatever?
Yeah, but the word was that he spun his wheels and he barely. I saw the video. And it's like he barely spun one. It wasn't anything major, but a lot of people were making a big deal out of it. But yeah, it was. And you feel for the guy. I mean, he's found a way to lose a major a different way.
Now he's got to go home to the wife they tried to divorce, but now they're back together.
Well, that's a different thing.
I know. He really wanted that extra golf. Anything to.
And we'll have Mully on tomorrow, but I thought his guy had a chance. Tony Finau.
Finau had a great finish to his tournament for sure.
We were making plans to go back. I was talking to Watlington and Zach, and we all had passes. And it's like, hey, if they're going to play 18, no, but they changed it. Did they change the U.S. Open?
So they said for the first time ever, it would be a 2-hole aggregate instead of
the
a
same
full
day.
I believe they would have just ran it that day.
We did not know
which
that.
Which is why Roy was sticking around, I guess.
Yeah.
So to go on.
I was looking. Well, I guess we would have gone back.
But it used to be.
Yeah, because I remember when Payne Stewart won. I was actually at the state games with Caitlin playing softball. I was coaching softball, and I was keeping an eye on it. And it was like coming down the wire. And I thought, hey, because I had separate cars from some of the team. And I said, look, if they end up playing 18 Monday, I'm going back. Because I'd been at Pinehurst earlier in the week. But yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think they said it would have been the first ever.
Wow.
So they must have changed that recently.
That would have been drama.
No doubt. No doubt. As far as covered, you mentioned a little bit, Bailey, but you and Zach and Ken, you said you really enjoyed it.
We did. And it was one of those things where you're not allowed to do a whole lot. Like, you can't go around shooting any of the video. NBC does, all of that. But you can, beforehand, you can do some stuff. So, I went on Wednesday, and Zach went a couple times during the tournament and was able to, do some stuff. But you can't do a whole lot as far as the rest of your sportscast goes. So I was suited better off Thursday to come back, and Friday from the home base. But on Wednesday, I'm standing there at one point, and Zach goes, hey, there's Tiger. And I was like, where's Tiger? And he was standing right beside me. I think Tiger heard me say, where's Tiger? Because we were standing that close. And we got some great video of him, just hitting balls and talking to some
Brian
people.
Bailey?
Exactly.
Where's Brian? Oh, he's right there.
But it was a lot of fun to get some of the video, and I always like going to things like that because you see all the guys around the state that have worked in TV for a long time, and some of the photographers and people like that, and reporters, and a lot of the guys have come and gone. They don't do it anymore. A lot of the guys are young now, and so.
What's Chandler's legend up to? What's Tom Suter doing these days?
I think he's just enjoying retirement. Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I learned a lot watching. And I've said this publicly before, but watching the guys like Bob Holliday and Jeff Gravely and all those guys do their thing with Tom Suter, and
Gravely's
to me that was what a sports department was. That was the. And it's sad how times have changed because it's not like that, at their station anymore. But in fact, I don't think any of the Triangle teams, Triangle stations went with State and Carolina to Omaha. I don't think any of them did.
I had heard that too.
I think they were. The plan was if one of them made it to the final series, they might go. But I can tell you this: if East Carolina was in Omaha, Channel 9 was going to be there. We've talked about it for years now because. Yeah. Because it's what this community. It's just like when the Greenville team goes to the Little League World Series. I mean, that's something that you gotta be there for the people that can.
So Saturday we went to Raleigh to Crabtree because my girls wanted to go to Cheesecake Factory and look around the mall, and Lily got some money for some good grades, so she had some money to spend. So we did that whole deal. And not that Cheesecake Factory is a sports bar, but the two TVs in Raleigh while NC State is playing, one has WNBA on and one has the U.S. Open on. And none had the NC State game.
That's weird.
Wow. I guess if you're a sports fan and a State fan, you're probably not going there to watch the game.
Yeah.
But I just found that interesting.
Why'd you go?
Because the girls.
Oh, because the girls.
Yeah.
It's Father's Day weekend. You got to kind of do with what they tell you.
Well, it was an anniversary. Our anniversary was last midweek.
Whose anniversary is that?
My wife.
Okay, good. Oh, you're still married?
I am. Yeah. And you're on number.
I'm on number 2, and Melissa is still keeping me right now. So let's keep it like that.
All right, so
Wes has got you beat.
Yeah, what?
So we got 1, 2, and 3.
Well, we got 0, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought Wes was in the teens.
Buddy.
Look, I've still got a standing bed if something happens between me and Peggy. Oh.
What is a standing bed? Is that like for vampires?
No.
What do you mean?
If you remember back in the day when we were live at 5, I gotta walk in a dress. I gotta wear a dress and high heel shoes.
If
a
standing bed.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you said bed.
Oh, that's funny now.
If things between me and her don't work out.
So that's the only reason you're still in it. You don't want to wear that dress and high heels.
Well, let's look at it like this. When my mother and father passed away, we had three more plots out there.
Where's that going?
I have no idea.
You get ready to find out.
Okay, sorry about that.
All right. So where my mother and father are, it's going to be Peggy and me, right beside them. The markers are already down.
Okay.
Oh,
That's preparation now.
What about the other one?
Well,
That's for the next wife.
well, it's up for grabs.
It's up for grabs.
Wow.
Do you want to be buried beside Wes? Your chance. You get your shot.
You could do that.
We'll do a reality show. Winner gets to be buried beside Wes Hines. Brian Bailey's a big fan of the Bubbas.
Oh, yeah.
He himself used to be a Bubba, but he's left me now.
I hear you. I'm still a Bubba at heart, that's for sure.
Still a Bubba at heart. So, Bailey, this is right up your alley. Coming up this Thursday, June 20th, down on Main Street, is hosting the ECU Football Pirates starting at 6 p.m. It's an O-line versus D-line wing-eating contest.
Wow.
You can
Thursday?
You can stop by for autographs, pictures, and, of course, great dinner and drinks. Who will win the championship? Stop by down on Main Street and find out this Thursday. Down on Main Street in historic downtown Washington. Pirates supporting Pirates. O-line, you got Will Coates, Trey Hardison, Cam Durant, and for the D-line, Preston Carr, who has those golden pipes, Zion Wilson, and Logan Wright. It is an O-line versus D-line showdown.
There are chickens trembling everywhere in eastern North Carolina right now.
We had four of them in here, and they took up about the whole studio last week, and it's going to be a showdown coming up this Thursday at Down on Main Street. Go check it out, and you can interact with the guys and have some great wings yourself. And
Did some research. They changed that to the aggregate tiebreaker in 18. They haven't used it yet. So I guess, some of us old people like myself, hadn't realized, but haven't used it yet. But they did change it in 2018, which makes kind of more sense. But I'm not sure if it's an aggregate 2 holes and then 2 more aggregate holes, or what happens after that.
I will say a one-on-one between Rory and
That's what I was thinking.
for 18 holes would have been pretty
It's like my mom used to say, Brian, you hear what you want to hear. So I was like thinking what I wanted to think as far as that goes. But
I don't want to ignore our Facebook audience. Kenny Curling says Brian Bailey is certainly in the Cowboys Fan Hall of Fame.
How about them boys?
What an awful Hall of Fame to be in.
It is right now.
Kenny also has a hypothetical. If AMAC stays at ECU, how many more games do the Pirates win? And what does it mean for Dixon Williams? I guess Gene put it in his calculator, and he says we'd have 7 more wins. Dixon would have played second. Jacob Starling is short. And Barini is out of the lineup. That, according to him.
Well,
so
there you go.
Hypotheticals
one way to look at
with ECU baseball as AMAC hit a home run to pull the pack within 1. It is 4-3 in the 4th inning in Omaha. The Buccaneer Music Hall scoreboard presented by Da Buck. All right. Speaking of ECU baseball, Bristol Carter apparently has found his destination. He put it out on social media today. He is heading to Auburn, Bailey.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, I didn't realize how bad Auburn was this past year. But best of luck to Bristol. Bristol, I really thought that, and the rumor was State or Carolina was in the mix. But maybe he wanted to get his situation, situated earlier, and State and Carolina have business right now to take care of. But you got to figure a kid like that, as far as the recruiting process originally, East Carolina, North Carolina, NC State, that kind of thing. So, best of luck to him.
We don't have a route destination yet, do we?
I have not seen that.
Yeah.
All the rumors were Texas Tech for a long time, but I don't know what that means.
And for Bristol Carter, I've seen a lot of, he's
Texas A&M, one of those two, one of the Texas schools.
Bristol's, left for the money. And I don't know, we talked to Mully about it, and he said just, his best guess, it has a lot to do with style and the structure maybe here. He just wasn't a fan of it. So, yeah, he's going to get a payday like all these guys who go to SEC schools are, but I don't know if he necessarily left just to make money. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to tell, and it's really difficult with, the whole NIL thing and what we're dealing with, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I certainly know we haven't figured that out yet because, if they don't get their hands on this thing, I mean, it's already out of control.
Yeah.
But I mean, who's gonna be the law as far as that goes with this thing? What's legal? What's not legal? I mean, if you're a great right-handed pitcher and you're doing well for East Carolina, and I'm at an SEC school during the season, somebody calls you up, hey man, end of the year now we've got X amount of dollars for you. I mean, that's just not right, but it's happening.
Well, Brian, I'm a lot like you. I'm just a little bit younger.
All right.
When it comes to sports fandom, because
Right.
you're a huge sports guy. You're the kind of guy that you'll probably look and see, all right, what's coming up this week. You do it for your job, but also for your viewing habits. All right, what's coming up? What am I going to watch? And you love your football Saturdays. You love your football Sundays. Has any of the joy that you've had been taken away due to what college athletics is now?
I don't think it has yet, but I think I can see where it's heading south. It's pending, yeah, because you just, I mean, you just. I've always been, these guys need to get something out of the deal because obviously, it's kind of come full circle. But when you hear about kids in junior high school getting offered, big time contracts to go to this school or that school, it makes no sense. I mean, that's just not.
For me, it's this time of year and it's these conversations. If I could preview opponents on our advanced moving opponent preview every day, I would love to do that. If we could talk to ECU guys, which we'll do a lot of this week, I'd love to do that and stay away from these discussions because on game days, Saturday at 10 a.m. and game days on and you're looking at the full slate, I still feel almost that same excitement that I always have.
Yeah.
It's kind of when you get beyond that and all the mess, but I still love the games. I'll watch every one of them and still get excited about them, but it's this part of the year where you kind of have to talk about these things that kind of bums you out.
You kind of lose sight of what's behind when they make the sausage kind of thing.
Right.
You kind of lose sight of that whenever the games are going on. And like you said, we all enjoy, waking up on a Saturday morning, getting ready for the big day ahead, the pregame show, checking in, the tailgating that goes on in a home game for East Carolina, the Pirate football game, coming home after a game and watching whatever game's on, late night, and it's just and then getting ready for Sunday. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
And I always heard this, and then maybe you did as a young sportscaster too, the closer you are to it, the less you enjoy it type of thing and I kind of think about that with the Carolina Hurricanes. Like I just watch the games, I see the results. If they lose, it doesn't really affect me. If they win, it's awesome and I'm excited. And I'm trying to be like that with the Commanders and with the Braves. Just people ask me, who do you want to draft? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who's in the draft. I don't care. I just hope they draft some good players. I'm trying to maybe be more away from it and just enjoy it for what it is than to be bogged down by all the details.
I think as a sportscaster, you kind of just take it all in and take it all for what it is. But I think, there's two sides to it. You can be a sportscaster and you can be a sports fan. And I've never, I want to be a sports fan because, I've always wanted to be a sports fan. I'm going to continue to be a sports fan. I try not, for the most part, to show, the teams that I root for when I'm doing a sportscast, although through the years, people have figured out that I do root for the Cowboys.
It would be funny if you led with Virginia and Cowboys highlights.
There you go. But I've had people come up to me, and I swear I've had people come up to me. And Bella's calling me right now, so
You can answer it.
no, you don't want to know. You don't know what's going on in that girl. But when you think about, I've had people come to me and those, man, you just love those Tar Heels.
Yeah.
You can't stand it when they lose, and I'm like, well, thank you. That means a lot because that means I'm doing my job because I'm not. I came to Greenville, North Carolina, as a definite Tar Heel hater.
You've never liked North Carolina,
But I've kind of over the years, because I have a lot of friends that are Carolina. I have people that that I know. It's just like the kid from Conley, Matthew Mateus, is playing in the World Series. I hope he does really well. So I mean,
okay.
So I mean,
Well, I mean, you have Commanders friends. I consider myself one of those.
oh yeah, I do. I have.
So you kind of like them?
No, I hate them.
What? That didn't make any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. They're Redskins.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, fair enough.
I have an uncle who lived in D.C. and was a big Redskin fan. I'm telling you, man, we went to war. We had some battles throughout the years.
I think that makes sports fun.
I do
You're not
too.
supposed to like every team. It would be weird if you did.
Well, the whole thing about, and this goes with the Redskins logo and everything like that, but the old American Express commercials, with Joe Gibbs and Tom Landry, two of the biggest Christian men in sports, doing a commercial like that. And you couldn't do it, in 2024.
Yeah,
but
true.
you could do it back then, back in the good old days.
That is kind of crazy. I didn't really live through that era and know it, but you did have two of the calmest, nicest men.
Oh man,
leading
and Joe Gibbs. I mean, he came. I think I've told you this before. He came to Greenville that year for the men's breakfast, and there was a big crowd of people there. And he had trouble getting to Greenville because of the weather. They were supposed to fly in that morning, but they had ended up driving in late that night. And Joe Gibbs gets up and he goes, "Man, we drove and got here about 2:00 in the morning. We get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, get over here by 6. And the first guy that interviews me is a big Cowboy fan. He said, "What's that about, Greenville?" And everybody knew who it was. But he was a great guy. I loved him.
I guess Billy Weaver couldn't lock down that interview like you.
He never got up that early.
BB, Brian Bailey joining us here inside the Pirate Radio studios. NC State trailing Florida 4-3. Bailey, what do you think about the College World Series right now? It looks like it's going to be the SEC reigning supreme. Wahoos are down to their last game, or they're out. Oh, they lost last night, so they're done.
They lost to Florida State. Florida State advanced. Florida State plays Carolina in the elimination game tomorrow.
Because Tennessee knocked off North Carolina. So that means tonight you've got what?
You've got the Texas A&M and you've got Kentucky.
Okay, coming up tonight. Any any rooting interest for Dan Roselle in Kentucky? Although it's kind of funny. Should we root for the coach that left us or a player that left us?
I'm telling you, there's so many connections. You look at Coach Whitfield sitting there with his Wolfpack hat on today. He usually wears his Pirate hat, but he's got his Wolfpack hat on today. So many connections with each team. Scott Forbes was the pitching coach at East Carolina for 19 days?
Yeah.
I mean, so that's a connection. Oh, that's a ball that's hit. That ball was hit right there now. That's a solo shot.
She gone.
So it's 5-3 Florida over NC State.
Gators trying to stay alive and knock out the Wolfpack, who, they played a classic on Saturday.
Man.
Go Gator.
There it is, Wes.
And some of the like the Florida State Tennessee game was that Friday night. That was a classic. And, Tennessee down to the last strike. And, he checks his swing. He definitely went. There's no doubt that he went. They appealed out. He said, no, he didn't go. And Link Jarrett, another connection to East Carolina, former East Carolina assistant under Billy Godwin, who left East Carolina. Where did he go as the head coach? Was it at Elon first and then Notre Dame, and then down to Florida State. But he's a great guy, just a great guy. But he was livid on that call and then ended up losing the game. So, all right, it's been good. It's been fun to watch.
We'll do at least one ECU football question with Bailey every Monday this summer, and this one comes from your buddy Kenny Curlings.
Kenny,
how many wins for the Pirate football team this season?
How many wins for the Pirate football team this season? I'm going to go 7 or 8. I've always been really optimistic, and I think with this schedule, I think they've got a chance. Obviously, I think some of the more difficult games are, the early games.
No doubt.
Winning at Old Dominion is not going to be easy because Old Dominion can knock, they knock Virginia Tech off, it seems like, all the time. The App State game is going to be huge.
They have had our number.
Yeah, and I think
And I think that, kind of going off what players have said, but their mannerisms as well. I think they got that one circled. I think that's
I think
the
so
App State game.
I think so too. I think they looked at what happened last year and how how they thought they had a shot, and and there's a couple of games that they can look at that and say we probably should have won that game. Probably should have won that game. So, but I think there's a new excitement in East Carolina football. I really do.
You almost wish this season could go like last season as far as the defense, and then just give us a little bit of offense. Because how many games would have been different? Certainly Navy and Charlotte are wins if you had any kind of offense at all.
Any offense at all.
Marshall was a one-score game late.
I thought Marshall was going to be a 16-10 Pirates. I thought that's how it was going to finish. And then all of a sudden, a couple of big plays. You had a pick
six, I think, in there. And
you had a halfback pass or a wide receiver pass or some kind of.
So there's 3 we just named. I'll give App State I'll give them that win because that was 43-28. Even though we were in it for a while, but that's 3 more wins. Rice, good grief! You'd think we could beat them.
Get some offense.
That'd be another one. SMU, I'll take that L. UTSA, I'll take that one. Tulane,
UTSA, they were in.
I know they were. They were. Tulane,
and they had some offense in the UTSA game. That was the problem there.
Tulane 13-10. We'll take that. We're talking about like 5 more wins, 6 more wins here.
Yeah,
that we
no
could
doubt
have last year. So you flip that, and that turns into 7-8 wins, like you said. So, BB, thank you. What do you guys have coming up? WNCT Channel 9 this week.
This week, basically, it all slows down to almost to a halt, to a stop. We're going to cover the wing eating contest apparently on Thursday. That's a great thing. I believe the women's clinic is Friday.
It is.
21st,
Ryan McManus joins us today to talk about that. Amanda Houston joins us Wednesday.
Good. So that's always a great event. Kind of kicks off the whole, the whole summertime. It's a slow, rise as far as and the excitement and what's going on for Pirate football because it takes most of the month of July. I think the coaches after the 1st of July, I think they take off for a couple of weeks and then that's their last vacation for a while and then they get back at it.
No doubt. We'll talk to some of the coaches and players this week. Andre Powell, we get a chance to talk to him for the first time. New special teams coordinator will join us on Tuesday's show. New tight end Casey Kelly coming up this week. Zakai Barker will join us. Also, Surad Ware, Sam Danka, all of them joining us here in the Pirate Radio studios. So
sounds good.
We are football season's begun here at Pirate Radio.
Good.
Bailey, thank you for joining us, man.
All right, thanks for having me.
We'll see you next week.
Appreciate it.
BB, Brian Bailey joining us Mondays in studio during the summer here. Great treat on Pirate Radio Live.